A front-end wobble or a grinding noise can ruin a perfect ride. These are common signs that your front wheel bearings may be worn out. Replacing them is a critical maintenance task for your Harley-Davidson FLHX. This guide will walk you through the process step by step. Following these instructions carefully will help you perform the job with confidence. This is not a difficult task, but it requires attention to detail. We will cover everything from the initial setup to the final test ride. Always prioritize safety. Use the correct tools for the job. You will also need your bike's specific service manual for torque values and any model year variations. Before you begin, gather all the necessary tools and parts. This preparation ensures the job goes smoothly without interruption. Let's get started on fixing that wobble for good. The first step in any maintenance task is to prepare your workspace and the motorcycle. Place your FLHX on a flat, level surface. A clean and organized area will prevent you from losing small parts. Position your motorcycle jack under the frame as specified by the manufacturer. Slowly lift the front of the bike until the front wheel is completely off the ground. The wheel should be high enough to spin freely and be removed without obstruction. Once lifted, double-check the stability of the jack. For added security, use tie-down straps to secure the frame or handlebars to a stable point, preventing any chance of the bike tipping over. With the motorcycle securely in the air, you can begin the initial disassembly. Start with the front brake calipers. You will find 2 bolts holding each caliper to the fork leg. Before removing them completely, crack them loose while they are still held firmly by the fork. Once they are broken loose, you can remove them fully. Never let the calipers hang by their hydraulic hoses. This can stress the lines and cause leaks. Use a zip tie to hang each caliper safely from the engine guard. Now your attention moves to the front axle. Depending on your model year, you may have a decorative cap on the end of the axle nut. Gently pry this off with a small screwdriver if it is present. Next, locate the pinch bolts at the bottom of the fork leg on the axle side. Loosen these bolts first. They are designed to clamp the fork leg onto the axle to prevent it from spinning or sliding out. Failing to loosen these pinch bolts before trying to turn the axle nut can damage your forks. Now that the calipers are safely out of the way and the axle fasteners are loose, you are ready to remove the front wheel. Position yourself in front of the wheel. Use a piece of cardboard on the floor to place the wheel on later. Support the bottom of the tire with one hand to take the weight off the axle. With your other hand, finish unscrewing the axle nut. Once the nut is off, slowly slide the axle out from the other side. You may need to wiggle the wheel slightly to help the axle slide through smoothly. As the axle comes out, be prepared to catch the wheel and any spacers that are present. The wheel is heavy, so maintain a firm grip. As you pull the axle completely free, the wheel will be loose in the forks. Carefully lower the wheel to the ground. Pay close attention to the wheel spacers. Show spacer location between wheel hub and fork leg. These spacers are often different sizes. Compare them side by side. Note which spacer goes on which side. Label spacers left and right with a marker. Once free, roll the wheel to your designated work area. Lay it down on a piece of wood to avoid scratching the rotor or rim. Close up on brake rotor. Avoid damage. Close up on ABS tone ring. Avoid damage. These components are sensitive and can be bent easily. Avoid touching the brake rotor surfaces with greasy hands. Any contamination on the rotors can reduce your braking performance and cause noise. It is best to handle the wheel by the tire. Section 3. The heart of the job: extracting old bearings. With the wheel safely on your workbench, the main task begins. You will start by removing the thin dust seals on the outside of the hub. Use a seal puller to carefully pry the old seals out. Work your way around the seal, prying gently in several spots rather than trying to force it out from one point. Be very careful not to gouge or scratch the aluminum surface of the wheel hub where the seal sits. Any damage here could cause the new seal to leak, allowing water and dirt to reach your new bearings. Take your time with this step. Once the seal is removed, you will see the outer race of the wheel bearing. Look inside the hub from one side to the other. You will see a metal spacer tube sitting between the two bearings. This tube is crucial as it prevents the bearings from being crushed when the axle is tightened. To remove the first bearing, you will work from the opposite side of the wheel. Insert your long punch or drift through the hub until it makes contact with the inner edge of the bearing on the far side. The internal spacer is designed to have a little bit of play, allowing you to angle the drift to catch the bearing's edge. Begin tapping the end of the drift with a hammer. Do not try to knock the bearing out with one powerful hit. Instead, use a series of firm, controlled taps. After each tap, move the drift to the opposite side of the bearing race. Precision installation of new bearings. Before installing the new bearings, thorough cleaning is essential. Use a clean shop rag and brake cleaner to wipe the inside of the wheel hub. Remove all the old grease, remove dirt, remove grime. Once clean, inspect the inner surfaces of the hub where the bearings sit. Feel for burrs, look for deep scratches. Check for any damage. The surface should be perfectly smooth so the bearings seat correctly. Also, clean and inspect the inner spacer tube. Make sure the spacer is not crushed. Time to install the first new bearing. If your FLHX has ABS, check the service manual. Typically install on the ABS sensor side. New bearings are sealed units. Do not open or add grease. Place the new bearing squarely on the hub opening. Apply pressure only to the outer race. Use a bearing driver set for best results. Never use a driver that's too small. It will hit the inner race and cause damage. No driver set? Use a large socket matching the outer race diameter. Place the socket on the outer race and gently tap with a soft mallet. Ensure the bearing goes in perfectly straight. Continue tapping until you hear a solid change in sound. That thud means the bearing is fully seated against the hub shoulder. Once the first bearing is seated, insert the clean spacer tube into the hub. Reassembly and critical final checks. With the new bearings and spacer properly installed, the final step is to fit the new dust seals. Apply a very thin layer of grease to the outer lip of each new seal. This helps them slide into place without damage and adds an extra layer of protection against moisture. Place the seal over the hub opening and press it in by hand as far as you can. It must go in evenly. You can then use a flat block of wood, gently tap it into place until it is flush with the surface of the hub. Do not drive it in too far. Now you can reinstall the wheel onto the motorcycle. Carefully roll the wheel back into position between the front forks. Remember your labeled wheel spacers. Install the correct spacer on each side of the hub. With the spacers in place, lift the wheel slightly to align the hub with the fork leg holes. Slide the clean axle through the fork. Apply a very light coat of anti-seize compound to the axle threads, but be careful not to get any on brake components. Thread the axle nut on and tighten it finger tight for now. It is now time to use your torque wrench and service manual. Follow the specific tightening sequence for your FLHX model. This usually involves tightening the main axle nut to its specified torque value first. Then, you must tighten the fork pinch bolts to their much lower torque value. Do not over-tighten the pinch bolts. Once the axle is secure, you can reinstall the brake calipers.